Good evening. I'd like to call the Board of Trustees meeting to order on Tuesday, February 18th at 6 p.m. Would you please silence any noisemakers you may have? And join me in a pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Lino,
Here.
Baker,
Here.
Bell,
Here.
Bertle,
Here.
Duffy just walked in.
Here.
And Zosky.
Here. I didn't know Duffy was Irish for nick of time.
Approval of the agenda.
So moved.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approval of the minutes as published.
So moved.
Second.
Changes, additions, deletions?
Looks
good to
me.
I just, on page 7 of the packet, line 29 to 32, I don't recall saying I would report on that phone bill at the next board meeting. Perhaps I did. I thought I said I would report back to the board members, which I did.
By email.
By email. So,
I can change
I can
that.
reiterate the same information.
I can just say
Yeah.
to the board members.
Okay.
Anything else? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Correspondence.
Do you want me to kind of list what there is in the packet?
Just list, I don't know.
Okay. There was a copy of an email which had been received from Ann Flegel concerning the Dollar General project, as well as a request for donations which had been received from the 2020 Gibraltar High School post-prom committee, a thank you letter from the Door County Humane Society, a flyer concerning the 2020 Wisconsin Asphalt Pavement Association seminar which will be conducted on March 5th, and a thank you letter which had been received from the Sister Bay Historical Society. Now, last year, you may recall that the post-prom committee request was forwarded to the Marina Committee. Do you want to do that same thing again?
Yeah, I'm trying, what did we do last year?
You made a donation,
Yeah.
didn't
Yeah, to the Marina Committee.
Yeah, I'm thinking $100.
I don't recall the amount, and I didn't have time to look.
Yeah, it wasn't a lot.
Wasn't a lot.
I would make a motion to,
What if we do it under the Marina Committee?
okay?
Okay. Anything else? Anybody want to add any correspondence? Item number 1, discussion regarding the recommendation from the Village of Sister Bay Ad Hoc Emergency Management Plan Committee that the village administrator be formally appointed as the primary point of contact, i.e. the emergency management director for the village, and in his or her absence, the village facilities manager shall fill that role. Consider a motion for action if appropriate.
So, the Emergency Management Committee did meet towards the end of January. The discussion was had that there needs to be a formal appointment for a designated person to take on that role for emergency point of contact. So in the case of there's a disaster or something that seriously happens, it's no longer put on Chris Hector, the fire chief, because they're gonna be busy. In that case, they can't be the one to delegate and designate other safety measures, and so that would be appointed to the administrator position, so not me personally, but the administrator position. And then in the situation where I'm not present or an administrator isn't present, then it would be delegated to the facilities manager, someone who isn't necessarily in the emergency but can act as the speaking point for other parties involved.
Okay. In the past, it used to be one of the elected officials, correct?
Correct. Usually, in some cases, it does fall on the board president, but in the situation for Sister Bay, in my opinion, it's good to have the staff, person of staff, in this case, the administrator, take on that role, because it still falls into the everyday category of the job.
Okay. mean, I'm fine with that. I just want to make sure that if something happens, I or a designated representative actually get notified. I don't want to find out about it 12 hours later or
Absolutely.
2 days later.
So we are working on plans, and that obviously would be falling into the planning portion, so emergency management will meet again, and then we'll start to figure out the planning phase.
Yeah, might it be appropriate to have a small committee that, I mean, if there's some, large, no disrespect.
Mhm.
You got excellent potential, but not a ton of experience, that if all of a sudden there's some catastrophe, to have the insight of somebody.
So that's where the plan comes into place, so
Okay.
it's not just falling on me and my thoughts. I would, in this case, if there's an emergency, fall onto a plan in which everything is drawn out in all possible scenarios.
Okay.
And I would be working with the county, obviously, Dan Kane, emergency management there, they would be helping us. So it wouldn't just be falling on me alone, I would just be able to help coordinate, facilitate any reactions that need to happen.
Well, it's Denise and Chad on the committee, right?
Correct.
Right? You guys are the committee, right? So if we're putting some sort of plan together, couldn't we just say that if you're going to be the primary point of contact, if you're ever actioning anything related to this, that, then that one of those initial procedures after whatever contact you have with anyone is that Dave and Denise and Chad get notified as to what what's going on, right?
And
I
that-
think Chad and I are just putting the plan together. I
Yeah.
don't know that we're going to be part of.
And it makes sense to just have it be whether it's Bo or somebody's in
point.
Bo's position, whether
Right.
it's Dave or somebody in Dave's
Right.
position, not so much individuals.
Right, sure.
It's more of a
But-
positional thing, so.
But you should be
it's
notified
protocol.
as to what
So-
Bo's doing.
So that would happen in the planning, that's established, that would happen. The board president would be notified immediately.
So can we go back to when we had the Ellison Bay propane explosion? What was the process at that point in time? Do you remember?
I remember that I was on the fire commission at that time, and we had a lot of meetings. But because it wasn't in the village per se, I don't know how the town
Okay.
handled it. I know that the fire commission made some decisions.
It was my understanding at that time that Chris was kind of the chief point of contact. And that then the sheriff's department was up here and this was their command station. But they have a plan already established for something major like that, which
Yeah.
set out all the procedures that had to be followed.
So this doesn't mean that I'm making decisions that impact Chris's role or anyone in their emergency roles. It's just making sure that they don't take time out of this situation to have to deal with all the outside parties. It would be just giving me information and I can relay it to whoever needs to know. It's essentially the position.
I mean, it can be it can be village administrator and village president. And then if neither two of you,
So I'm speaking from the position, not the
Right,
person,
yeah.
okay? I just want to make sure that somebody, the chief elected person, knows if something's going on and not after the fact.
Right?
If something of that nature, that extent, that emergency management is triggered, okay, then need to know it.
And I would think before actions are taken, so it's not notification after the fact.
Right.
It's consultation prior to decisions are made. If we need a spokesperson, a individual that outside parties contact and then facilitates communication, that's fine. But I agree, I think being a village with an elected body, there should be an official of elected nature that is being consulted to validate the actions that whoever is making before they're made on behalf of the
then it's a
village.
dual role.
I think we have to be careful saying before there's actions taken,
Yeah.
because sometimes there is things that are so time sensitive, decisions have to be made.
Absolutely.
So that's why I go back to the idea of I like three. I think I'd keep Chris in it. Chris has intimate knowledge of not only.
Chris is in it no matter
He's in-
what.
Yeah,
he's in it
that's
no
not
matter what.
changing.
That's
Making
fine.
decisions?
Yeah,
Well, think about
absolutely.
this.
This isn't
From the
just-
fire department.
Chris is still doing his job, it's
But-
just, when Chris is doing his job, it's more of a facilitating position.
Yeah, this isn't a
Communication
decision-making person. This is
Okay.
just making sure that there's more coordination and more communication in the event that, say, Chris is busy putting out a fire, he can't
Sure.
get on the phone. That's
If
just
if something really
adding a point
bad's
of contact.
happening, or wherever it is, whatever level, the guy answering the phone isn't the guy making all the decisions or the girl making all the decisions. It's just a communications role
Yeah.
to be able to facilitate things so that information can be distributed to people it needs to be distributed to, and then
And then-
things can go. from
Right,
there,
and
trickle
then
down.
each of those people have their own list
Absolutely.
of things
Yeah.
that they will do in the plan.
We haven't got the plan yet, but this is just one of the things that came up initially.
Yeah, it's like the first thing that we
Yeah,
could,
yeah, yeah.
To
could
basic-
do.
We had to have a
basically
meeting
summarize
and
it-
accomplish one thing, and this is it.
So to basically summarize it, this conversation came up because if you're putting together a plan and you're putting together a report, on the top of the report, it's gonna say point of contact, emergency point of contact, they're gonna need a name. And then if I'm not there, the administrator's not there, there needs to be a second person. That's
You
what-
just want to be on the TV shows, is,
I would almost like to
Doesn't
see
hurt.
that second be the village president or their designee, instead of saying the facilities manager.
that's a good point, Nate. I think that sounds good.
And that designee could be the facilities manager, but
I don't have an issue with that.
Yeah, I think our thinking was just more of people that are around more. Not that we're not all around, but
Yeah.
they're there, kind of way more hours than we are. But I'm fine with that.
So what's your motion, Nate?
we're making a recommendation to the emergency plan, ad hoc.
No,
emergency plan, or
we made the recommendation
You're
to
making the
you.
recommendation,
You don't
yeah.
like it, so now change it so we can vote on it.
So that the emergency management director / primary point of contact be the village administrator, and if the village administrator is not available, the village president or their designee.
Second.
Okay. And I just want to make sure that as you're putting this plan together, that somewhere in there it states that the contact is supposed to be made as soon as possible after the plan is initiated. I'm talking to the committee.
Yes, sir.
In one ear, out the other.
Okay, any other discussion? Not all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Good job. Item number 2, discussion regarding the possibility of the village becoming involved in the Green Tier Legacy Community Program. Consider motion for action if appropriate.
So this is on the agenda from the last board meeting when we discussed the possibility of becoming a Green Tier Legacy community. Just doing some initial research on this, I think Sister Bay is a great candidate and a great proponent of the Green Tier Legacy community. So I guess moving forward, if we do want to go down that route, it looks like there's nothing that could negatively impact us in any way for signing up. There's no requirements. They don't have us do any annual checkups. There's no checklist. They want you to participate and be active as much as you can. There's almost no pressure.
Okay, there is,
Well, sorry, there is a checklist to go, there is a checklist to go on. I apologize for that. But it's very basic.
yes,
It's not very extensive. It's not time consuming.
right. And they want you to, they want us to update it annually, I think it is.
Yes, annually.
So, as I understand from the presentation that I saw in the information, correct me if I'm wrong, or you,
Okay.
if you have other information. This is sponsored by the DNR. You can become part of it by simply authorizing the resolution
Yep.
that authorizes that, yes, you want to take part of it. You submit that to the DNR, you're then accepted into it.
Yep.
And they ask that during the first year, you take the inventory checklist
Yes.
that they have, and you go through it. And it's pretty extensive, some of it applies, some of it doesn't, but it just kind of sets the baseline for where you're at and what you're doing on a green sustainability kind of level throughout the village. And it takes into account everything from purchasing stuff to physically using it, to the work that we're doing out in the parks or the streets, whatever. But it encompasses all phases of the village. And they're asking you to just fill out this baseline, and it's so that next year, You can take a look at it. You don't submit it to them and get graded on it. But so next year, you can take a look at it and go, okay, let's see where we are this year. Has anything changed? Do we add to this? Do we go forward? Do we go backward? So you're setting your own baseline checklist for the following years to check off. There are a number of groups, institutions, and grant opportunities that are part of this, that if you become, and you're accepted as a Green Tier community, it's one more star you can add to grant applications.
Yep.
So for instance, I'm thinking of grants that we may have coming up for, through the DNR in particular. This would be one additional checkoff list that would give you a little extra credit, if you will,
Yep.
in the process. I think it's a good start to, I think as a result of this, maybe we should, in April after the election, put together a sustainability committee, if you will, staff it, meet on it, and
No, it's a great idea.
see what, we can get community involvement, we can get community members as part of it.
I think one of the other big advantages, we have a lot of neighboring communities that are a part of this, but also there's a ton of communities in the state. And one of the big advantages of being Green Tier is when they do meet occasionally, and there are a lot of projects, and you might see some projects that are overlapping with some of the vision that Sister Bay has. And they've either gone through this process or are finished, so they are able to give you as much information on those projects or on those changes, and that really is a big benefit for a time factor and a cost factor.
That was one of the big points they were making in the presentation.
Yeah.
Was that a lot of communities that are part of the Green Tier are able to go into a database, if you will, of things that all the other communities have done under the Green Tier program. And all that information is open and accessible to you, so your community can use it and not have to recreate the wheel every time you want to do a project. So,
And there's a lot of things that, maybe the village hasn't thought of yet that other communities have, and it's been wildly successful, so.
So what you're saying is there's really no downside?
there's no downside at this point, doesn't cost anything to join. The question I asked at the time, or somebody else asked it also, was, okay, so 2 years from now, 3 years from now, we decide, forget it, we're done with this. Can we get out? Yeah, you just send them a letter saying we're no longer interested in being a Green Tier community, and that's it. It's over. So there's not a commitment. Actually, I thought about this quite a bit when I was traveling. I mean, rarely do you get a state program from the DNR that allows you access to a lot of things, that gives you extra credit for stuff that you don't have to pay for, you don't have to commit to, right? And you don't have to give an arm and a leg for a 5 or 10 year period of time. So there is just, from my line of thought, it was just an upside to it.
Absolutely.
So, we can't make a motion on this, we actually have to have a,
Well, we can make the motion to
Make a
pass the
motion.
resolution.
yeah, oh yeah, we have the resolution there.
Right.
That's it, yeah. I'll make a motion.
Second?
So what is your motion? then, that
To adopt resolution.
You want to do it the next time? Or
Yeah,
you
so
wanna
we'll
review
draft
the
it.
resolution?
Oh, we didn't have, I didn't see it.
Yeah, no, we'll
Okay,
have to
that's what I
draft a
thought. I didn't
resolution,
see it in
and
there.
we'll bring that, and I'll try to include the checklist, the initial checklist, just so that you guys can see
Okay.
what goes on.
Did you second, Rob?
Nate did.
Nate did, okay.
Okay. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item number 3, discussion regarding confirmation of President Leo's recommended appointments. Consider motion for action if appropriate. The only appointment I have for this evening is Marge Gretzmacher for the Library Board. Oh, good. She is more than happy to do it. Ralph, I talked to her quite a bit. I spoke to her after Ralph spoke with her, and she would be excited to do it. And I think she attended the last meeting.
She did.
Or was going to attend it. And I told her we would make the appointment tonight and get confirmation. She'll be all set to go.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Good choice.
Dave, I'm assuming you want
She
her
volunteered
to
herself.
fill out, Virginia's term, right? And then you'll readdress it in spring?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Forgot about that part of it, yes. Reporting county activities, we did not have a board meeting, that's next week, so today we only had the admin committee, and there's really nothing to report. Unless you have some questions about anything maybe going on at the county or anything you've heard. report by village administrator on village activities and projects.
Yeah, so, the RFPs have been sent out and been posted for, the treatment plant upgrade, so we should be moving on that, next week, I believe. The other thing, the board president and the administrator will be, beginning to prepare and reach out to, provide a presentation on ongoing, projects in the village and just an update to the village, to the condo associations and, the retirement community.
Question,
Yeah.
why?
We've done this actually for the last 4 or 5 years.
I know.
And we get asked all the time by the associations to do it, because a lot of their taxpayers that are not residents don't know what's going on in the village. So when they come for their annual meeting, it's a good time to have them all in one room. We kind of give them a synopsis of what's occurred over the last year, what we're looking to do going forward. We actually get a lot of great questions from them. Yep.
So and I knew that was going to be your answer. So my follow-up is, you should hold one for any individual citizen at the village hall, and you should do the same thing.
Perfect.
That'd be a good idea.
Because you're taking only these two segments, and if people don't fall into that category, there may be other people that
Great
would
idea.
show up, and if they don't, well, then you don't have to have another one.
That's a great idea, I like that.
A little Heidi cooked chili and. something doesn't
Absolutely,
show
there
up.
was free food, treats, yes.
I like that, it's a good idea.
Opportunity to answer questions, I like
Yeah.
that.
Yep. And it's usually, just so you know, this portion is normally done like Memorial Day weekend, because that's when most of the condo associations have their meeting. So we'll do 8 or 10 or 12 of these in a 2-day period of time.
Yeah. Okay, the other things on the reports, just briefly going over, staff will be meeting at the end of the month to begin our capital improvement planning. This is just us meeting with the representative from Baird to start to go over what will be happening and what will be expectations from staff to begin this process, and then this will be occurring annually, but definitely the first year is gonna take a little more time, and maybe the first few years to take time to get used to this process and to keep it going, but then this way we'll have a better idea of inventory, how long we have on the lifeline on some items, and really get a better idea of what our assets are. So we'll be starting that. Just an update for Pebble Beach. We will be meeting with the land trust soon to start to develop a plan for moving forward on that grant project, so.
Any questions on his report? Can I ask you about the facilities report? Item number 1, streets. We've started plowing the north end of Little Sister Road because the county plow has a hard time fitting down it and took out 2 poles. We should consider widening the road. Tell me what that's about.
Yeah, so.
We haven't taken out 2 poles before.
So, representative from the highway department contacted me and just asked if we had a smaller vehicle or something that we could use in the short term while they develop a plan to try and get in there. I think the trees have been growing in there, and so their trucks have a difficult time getting in and out. I actually, I'm just learning now that they hit 2 poles, but,
Yeah, one of the drivers was stuck for a bunch of hours in their truck.
yeah, so I'll inquire more about that, but in the meantime, someone from the Parks Department has been going and using one of our trucks to just plow in and out. It's not that difficult, it's not a large stretch, but there are residents down there that need to get plowed out, so we're happy to help on that.
Poles as in power poles? There's no light poles.
I will
down
find
there.
out more.
Those are the old Morse
One was a
code
power pole this,
Wow.
way, it was before Christmas, I think, when it happened. Yeah.
First time hearing about it.
If I remember correctly with my conversation, I don't know if it was poles, that might have been a mistake on this, I think it might have been trees or mailboxes, like that. I didn't think it was that severe that it
Well,
was.
Chad said it was a pole.
Well, yeah.
Was it?
Yeah, down by Fuzzy, somewhere, yeah. And I know what happened, I know the driver. Our office manager's father works for the county, so I don't remember the details of it.
Okay.
It's eating a donut and.
Maybe,
Take out a power pole,
maybe.
that's,
Power lines were down.
Okay, so any questions on the other report? Item number 6, review of the financial statements, consideration of a motion to approve the monthly bills. I will make a motion to approve the monthly bills in the amount of $1,693,448.14.
Second?
Any comments, questions?
Question
information?
page 33.
Okay.
Okay.
I tried not to bother you today, Tasha.
No, that's okay.
Okay.
I don't know that you would have reached me, honestly.
Card member service, Parks Shop Heater and Lights for $1,340. Did we replace something?
Yes, but your best bet is to talk to Danny at a Parks meeting or to refer the question to Parks. Or I can have Danny contact you and provide an explanation,
Okay,
because he knows far more about that than I do.
okay.
Anything else, Denise?
Yeah, I'm scrolling to find it. Page 37, True Green, Chemlawn, lawn treatment contract, $11,000, almost $400. Is this for the waterfront and all of the sports complex?
Waterfront Sports Complex, Marina Park, it's every, basically village property, treating for anything including grubs. And it's, by paying upfront, we receive a 3% discount, so.
Okay. I know I brought this up in the past, I haven't gotten very far with it. Now that we're considering being a green tier community, I have asked for what chemicals that they are putting on our grass, and in the past I have told that it's proprietary. That's not acceptable to me anymore. And I want to know what's out there, what we're being exposed to, and consider, and maybe having a larger conversation at Parks on if there are other ways to keep our lawn relatively green, relatively weed-free without the chemicals.
Okay.
So can we put that on a Parks agenda for?
I would just add to that, Denise, had similar issues with True Green as far as not wanting to say what was actually being used. Also, long story short, after dealing with them for many years, I'm switching to Orkin this year. I have Orkin out of Green Bay coming twice as frequently at half the cost than what True Green was. So, I just mentioned that, and if anyone gets to a point of where the guy that I'm dealing with is the regional guy out of Green Bay, if anybody ever wants to have him pitch the village too to see, I was pleasantly surprised to see. The other thing with Orkin that was much better than True Green is if there's something out of the ordinary, True Green will do everything possible to say it's not part of our deal. Like if you have those fake wasps that aren't wasps, or wasp nests, okay? True Green will act like they're bees' nests and say, we have a pollinator protection program, we can't go near that stuff. Orkin will take care of it right away, so.
Or can tell you what they're using?
Oh, yeah, they'll go through that with you, so.
So
I just-
we've already paid this bill, Tasha, or?
Yes, this bill has been paid.
Yeah. For down the
So
road,
you
it'd be
think
working.
contractually it's for the upcoming season?
Yes, so we're with True Green certainly for the summer. But that gives us time to talk,
It will take time to.
Yeah.
talk
figure it
to
out.
others and price out for 2021.
When we get down towards the end of the season, if you wanted to make a quote to Parks or whatever, let me, I'll set whoever needs to be up with the guy, deal with it. Denise, do
What
you
else?
have anything else? I don't want to
No.
interrupt you. I got a couple questions, Dave.
What page?
First one's page 35, item 40963, building inspection, January 2020, $2,881.20. What is a building inspection for?
We outsource our building inspection to inspection specialists, which is Brett Gillett.
Okay. And then on page 37, there's a bunch of stuff from Great Lakes TV Seal.
Yes.
My question is, I noticed for Mill Road, there were 2 inspection charges, 575 and 1,925. There's also an abandoned lateral charge of 1925 for Mill Road. For Bluffside Lane, there's an abandoned lateral charge of 1850, but there's no inspection charges. I'm just wondering if there's any relation to, does the inspection lead to the abandonment? And if so, why did we need 2 on Mill Road, and why did we need none on Bluffside?
Not knowing, I think one of the ones on Mill Road would have been, might be the one that CHOP had to pay for as a follow-up because of their grease trap.
There was one that was a follow-up on Mill Road, so you had 2 inspections for Mill Road for that reason.
I just wondered.
The Bluffside Lane abandoned the lateral, there, I believe, was a, issue reported, so as long as they were here, let's inspect it and take care of it right away, kind of thing. So,
Thank you.
but yeah, Great Lakes TV and Sale has been doing quite a bit of work TVing for the village and also doing storm sewer TVing, so.
Well, and you'll see ongoing more, because the DNR this year just shortened the amount of time in which we
Right.
have to TV everything.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to do more.
Do you know what they shortened it to?
Well, I think
rotation
from
is
5 to 4
5
years.
Yeah, I wanna say it was 5 to 4 years.
Yeah.
They would like us to go to 3, but that almost doubles the expense every year, and so
Compromise
we
to
have
4.
kind of negotiated a 4-year rotation, which is still a huge chunk of the village to TV in 1 year.
Thank you.
Anybody else? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We will go down to committee reports. Admin has not met.
When you go through your packets, Denise, that should be at the
Dave?
end.
Yes.
We're still gonna do regarding future agenda and all
Yes,
that?
that's the last thing.
Yeah.
It's always the last thing on the agenda. Communication technology has not met but needs to schedule.
Yes.
Coastal byways.
Moving forward with the All-American Road application. That's what our last meeting dealt with.
Just so you know, the admin committee at the county approved doing a letter of support,
Wonderful.
and it'll go to county board next week and should be sent out after that.
Excellent.
DCECD,
I didn't make the last meeting, did you, Paul?
I did not.
new director though, right?
Yes.
Really?
Yep.
Who is quick?
Can't remember the full name off the top of my head, I'd have to pull that up. I can send you the press release.
Thanks. Economic development. Finance. Fire.
We did have a meeting on the 5th, Wednesday the 5th. Basically, it was a explanation of the costs of running the department for Liberty Grove and our questions Liberty Grove had. Let's put it that way.
Did that go okay?
Yeah.
Good,
Chris did an excellent job.
good.
Quieted him right down.
Was Chris going to come in and speak on that topic for the entire board, or was that something we needed to relay?
He was willing to, if we want to
Okay.
hear it.
Is that of interest to the board to have Chris kind of go through?
Would say, yeah. I would
What,
s-
yeah, well, I don't wanna,
Go through how they break down the costs, and
Right
the
now-
division of costs going forward kind of thing.
It's a brief presentation that Chris
Yeah.
can give.
I'm not interested.
Yeah.
I think it's a waste of,
Well,
Most of
I
our time.
think it's in very capable hands, and if he wants to pass it along, I don't know if we need a presentation, but having been on the fire board for several years, I know it's in
yes.
very
Yes.
fine shape. But if you haven't been on the fire board or have questions, I'm sure he'd be happy to talk to you or get the information.
Okay,
I'm bad at.
Exploratory.
I'll tell you
reading. Historical Society. Historical.
Meeting on the 6th, what did we talk about there? Did the budget, the proposed budget was presented, and a discussion, or a, Russ Folkert has presented the plan about the shadow to the Historical Society.
Historical Society.
Next step, I guess, I don't know. So, I assume he's coming to the next meeting to explain everything, so.
To get the support to still do it at the boathouse, or to have it on the historical grounds, do you know?
I think they still want it in the
Okay.
boathouse, from what I understand.
Okay. Looking for a champion to get the
Yes.
not-for-profit
yes.
status. Got it, okay.
Okay.
That's fine.
You shot him down.
Just curious.
I'll get like it is on that. Library.
We welcome Marge with open arms.
Marina and Marina Fest.
No meeting, but we'll have one in March.
Marina Fest will be meeting late April.
Did the Marina want to do something for the prom after party?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
We would like to continue our support in the same fashion as last year, if that's okay.
Okay.
And then we can bring that, I guess, as another member of the Marina Committee. Are you okay with that?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm completely fine with it.
Before
I
I-
don't know how official that makes it, but I'm good with it.
Well, I guess we could seek confirmation, I would make a recommendation that we seek confirmation from the Marina Committee.
Ask forgiveness,
to-
not permission.
If you want,
I-
however you want to do it. My
We may
recollection
not
was,
have another meeting before the prom happens, the way things are going.
no, we need a meeting in March.
Okay.
I'm good with it, Pat.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm good with it.
We got
Pat.
3 members.
Yeah.
And my recollection was, I think it was $100.
Yeah.
This is not a large,
Well, yeah, I
Yeah.
agree.
it's well received from the prom committee's perspective, but it's not a large draw in the village or Marina.
It's a good thing to do.
So Marina will take care of this?
Yes.
Perfect.
Bailing out the village again right now.
Thank you. Parks.
We had a meeting, just couldn't do anything.
That's right.
Sorry.
We weren't gonna say
I'd let you
anything.
know the previous meeting, I wouldn't be there that long.
We weren't gonna say anything, Chad, but.
Yeah, I knew where I was directed.
Personnel. Nothing to report. Planning Commission. Nothing?
Questions? I'm not gonna bring anything up. If you have questions, I'll answer them.
Anything that the board should be made aware of?
No, we're plugging along.
Okay.
SBAA.
We had a presentation from a rep for Destination Door County. There's a 4-page copy of the 3-year marketing plan, if anyone's interested in, that I put in the packet.
Tourism Zone.
Meets Thursday.
Utilities.
No meeting this month.
Youth Center.
Slime Fest, the 29th, looking forward to it.
Slime Fest. Oh, darn, I missed that one. Ad hoc Ice Rink Committee.
They cancel meetings and reschedule them when I can't attend, so I can't really shed any more light than that on it.
And just so
Are you
that
taking
you
that
know,
personally, or?
No, not at all.
just so that you know, Rob should have been shown as being excused rather than absent from that meeting.
Emergency Management. Saw the results of that tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Discussion regarding matters to be placed on the future agenda referred to committee official or employee. Do you have something, Rob?
I have one thing. I came upon this just looking at our website, wondering what we had to say about the upcoming elections, and found that we weren't saying anything, including when the elections were happening. What I found inquiring to the village office was that, yeah, they would get it updated, but that Janelle was the only person that knew how to update the website. Now,
That's been done, though.
So my new business proposal would be, I think we need to have Bo being a second person in the office who knows how to update or change the website.
Yes, no, I have plans on doing that.
Okay.
It's a matter of getting to it.
Yeah. Okay.
Is it something that Heidi's interested in doing,
It's
learning?
nothing difficult, I can show her.
I mean, I'm just thinking.
Doesn't hurt to have multiple people that could be
Right,
able to do
multiple
it.
people.
Right.
Or if you
Depending on-
document it well enough, anybody that can find the document can do it.
Could ask her, whoever has time then can,
Yeah, 'cause
We can work on a plan.
I mean, it's.
don't make
it's
a
nothing
plan, don't
difficult.
make it a big
Yeah,
to-do, just
just-
ask Heidi.
My plan is I'm gonna walk down the hall at 7 o'clock.
Well, that's what I
Polls
meant.
closed.
I was making it official.
Anything else on that?
No, thank you.
Okay, if not, we'll go into a closed session. We'll take a 5-minute break once we go into closed session. Consider a motion to convene an executive session pursuant to Wisconsin statutes 19.851G to confer with legal counsel for the governmental body who is rendering oral or written advice concerning strategy to be adopted by the body with respect to litigation in which it is or is likely to become involved. Motion by Lino.
Second?
Lino, yes.
Birdo, yes?
Duffy, yes?
Yes.
Kadoco, yes.
Zashki, yes.
Baker, yes?
Now in closed session, we will recess for 5 minutes.